Rassie Erasmus and Damian Willemse. Hands up for questions. The first 10 minutes, you know the rules. First 10 minutes, open to bloggers. After that, we will just continue the media conference, but I'll hold the 10 minutes. So hands up for questions.
Coach, what do you have to do to beat the All Blacks this weekend?
We'll probably do the things that we've been training for the last 6 weeks, and especially the last 2 weeks with the guys staying back in South Africa. We can go to Argentina, and most of those guys are in the team. Yeah, and I think the big thing will be for us, everybody knows, they can't go away from the game plan. They've been preaching all over in the media, so I guess preaching that and making the supporters believe that's the way they're going to play. I've got no doubt that they will not play that way. So we'll have to handle their speed and intensity, which they are very proud of and mention a lot. And then, as always, a team that spends most of the time on attack during the week. Obviously, the breakdown for them is vital. So those are the things we will have to try and counter. I look up at the makeup of the teams, the ages, the caps, how many minutes in the last 6 weeks each player played, and it's fairly even. So I think it's going to be a grind.
Coach, just the thought process between or the halfback period from Sasha and Ron, the thought process in that?
I think they did the best often to start. Sasha has done wonderful things for us when he's played for us. He was the flyer last year when we beat him in Auckland. And Kobus and Grant is clearly on 1 and 2 nines at this stage. So we don't always put combinations because Sasha plays together at the Sharks. We don't look at that. At the Stormers, we look at which player understands what we're trying to do and which player trained the best. And then obviously the players on the other side helping the guys to prepare as well as they can. So it's always a tough call between Mani, Andre and Sasha. It's tough between Krappies and Kobus and Grant. And even Herschel is really training really well. And then obviously he's got Andre still there who can come into the mix. We firmly believe from our experience from a Lions series and when I played earlier in my younger days in All Black or Super 12 weeks where you go for 4 weeks to New Zealand, the game will probably get won in match 3 or 4. You don't win them. Obviously, if you win the first match, you're in better state or better chance of winning it because you just have to win another one and then you can't lose it. But the decider will always be match 3. So keeping everybody involved, everybody not anxious, excited to play. And then when the next guy get his chance, he's play. So it was tough and go, touch and go. Who should play and who should not play. But in our squad, we like to rotate, and hopefully, if things goes our way on Saturday, we can make a few changes next week.
Hi, Rassie. Just wondering about your thought process with your tighter props, Thomas missing out, and also the locks with Kobus we saw on the bench instead of someone like Sous you mentioned earlier.
Yes, Sous is definitely a bit undercooked. He hasn't played. If you look at his minutes in the last 6 weeks, it's 4 minutes. So he got injured really early. Lourdes struggled a hell of a lot with different injuries in the last 7-8 months, and he only got about 40 minutes versus Argentina. So we're trying Tony and Sepp and Anderin and all our SNC coaches. Andy are doing a lot of work with those guys to get them up to match fitness. And as I say, this game, which is going to get played on Saturday, is definitely not the game that will determine. We've seen it in the Lions series. We've seen it many times in World Cup pools. We lose a pool game. It is who's still standing and how many men you still got fit and are ready to go when it gets to Orlando and then eventually to Baltimore. So we see us the same. Sia probably could have played, but risking him this weekend and then you get to match 3 of this series and then you have a lot of walking wounded. So on those 2, that's definitely the thought process.
Rassie, what do you make of the All Blacks back 3 under the high ball? They sort of seem like they've made some improvements, but is that still in the area where you think they're a little bit?
No, I think they're wonderful. They've got this new thing where the winger runs back and he runs backward and catch it. I think it's a wonderful strategy. I think it's very clever. Obviously, we will look around a few opportunities how to counter that. But no, it's a good plan. It's very innovative. You know, it's normally the fullback or the winger that runs forward and catches it. They're running backwards, and I haven't seen them done it once illegal. So they do it really, really good, and it's a good ploy. And I mean, of this team we're playing this weekend, you know, I think there's only 9 players that we didn't play against last year in Auckland and in Wellington. And of those 9 players, 6 are forwards, and of the 6 forwards, 4 is playing off the bench. So, and then of the backs, there's 3 new guys that we didn't play against in Auckland and Wellington, and 1 is off the bench. So in theory, there's only 3 new guys in the starting lineup that we played against, which we didn't last year in Auckland. So, and in Wellington. So, skill sets get improved, so of our players, with their players, tactics gets changed, and that's one of the tactics that they really do well, with the wing running back and slapping the ball almost back with a full back covering there. That will be a challenge for us.
Rassie, can you take much out of the hiding you gave the All Blacks in Wellington last year?
Sorry?
Can you take much out of the big win you took, had over the All Blacks last year in Wellington? Can you take much from that game?
Well, as I say, there's in the starting lineup 3 new guys that did not play in those matches. But we have experience from the past. We beat them in Bombela, and then they beat us at Ellis Park. We beat them well in Bombela, and then they beat us at Ellis Park. They beat us in Auckland, and we beat them well in Wellington. They beat us well in 2019 or 2018, 57-0. And then the next weekend in Ellis Park and Newlands, it was a 2-point game. So if you live in the past, you know, I see a lot of people are quoting stats of how many wins and how many losses. It's your last game that count. And our last game is not the last one we played in Wellington. It's the game we're playing on Saturday. So we won't be stupid enough to think it's going to be that easy.
Rassie, what do you make of the All Blacks second row? There's a lot of height there. Are you expecting them to maybe attack the lineup?
Yeah, Peter Steed's pretty tall. Eben's pretty tall. Ruan's pretty tall. So I think we're just as tall as them. They're a little bit younger. They're 23. I think the other guy's 25. So it's a combination of the hooker and the calling system and how we contest and what we want to do where on the field. And then the same with when they have the ball. You know, I'm sure they'll have a few trick plays like the Woodcock play way back in 2011 or when they caught us. They're doing really nice in and outs into the vacuum, which we expect. Obviously they maul a lot. So they've got good players and a great hooker starting, and obviously the reserve hooker playing off the bench is a monster. You can see that he's a physical guy. But yeah, they've got tall guys, but we also have tall guys. It's more about how in sync you can be on attacking lineouts when you have the ball, and how you can possibly disrupt their tall. Of Cody Taylor, such a good lineout thrower. So it's going to be, I think, a very closely contested area of the game.
Rassie, this series has obviously been long in the making. Have you had to adjust your plans given the All Blacks changing coach and how they're playing differently now?
Yeah, I mean, they say it all the time, you know, so it's not a secret. I mean, they can't go away from what they're saying now, because I mean, what they're saying on social media and what they're saying at press conferences, they're going to play a fast, intense, and people must try to keep up with them. So, and that shows in the stats. You know, they've probably doubled the breakdowns, doubled the passes that they had in the Razors era. And, you know, that's the way they want to play. They want to run you off your feet and make sure that they win their breakdown ball lightning quick, whatever it takes at that breakdown. And those are the things we'll have to counter. But then obviously we have the ball sometimes. You know, and we have to try and imprint our attacking style on the game. So I think there's so many challenges in the game: individuals, tactics, set phases, kicking game, loose open running game, breakdown pressure. I think it's such a close contest. I mean, I don't think Dave can tell you who's going to win on Saturday, and I certainly can't tell you who's going to win on Saturday.
Hi Rassie, so one of your podcasts you mentioned in terms of the reasoning behind releasing the team on a Monday, obviously touching on content creators, team predictions and all that type of stuff. Did you have to change anything this week, obviously with the team being announced today? Is there anything that you had to tweak within the camp, obviously with the players and the things that are happening on social media?
Yeah, you must remember what we do inside the camp and what people think outside the camp. It's really far removed from the truth. So you must remember you weigh up in a match like this, in a week like this. What is the best? Put out the team on Monday and all the noises. I mean, you guys had a field day with speculating with team selections, and it's great for you guys. And there is the bad side of that is players think, shit, but I should be picked if the media say all of this. But when you announce a team on a Monday, you know, the players all know, the media can talk as much as they want, the team is selected. And you guys then that doesn't have to speculate. Now that advantage of the team knowing I'm not going to listen to what's said on social media and in newspaper articles because the coach told us and or management team told us, and the team all knew already last Friday was playing. So they got enough time to prepare. And then you have to weigh up, listen, giving the opposition not the ammunition to know exactly who's playing, and you reaping the rewards of announcing the team on Tuesday, or Monday, so that the team is settled and all the outside noises doesn't influence. This specific week we thought, listen, we are so used to announcing our team already the previous weekend or Sunday or Monday, and we just waited two out and we decided, listen, we'll rather handle the noise a little bit this week, because the way New Zealand prepare for opposition, as far as I understand, they're really particular about the player profiles, how they play, what they do, and they target certain players. And we just felt for this specific game, because they're such a dangerous team, they're number 2 in the world, we'll rather take the negativity that comes with team selection and all the speculations, and we had to weigh up which one is the best advantage, and we just thought the Thursday announcements would be.
Okay, bloggers off.